It must be 2017 because there was just a solar eclipse. There are questions about Danny Ricciardo's future, and Max Verstappen just had a victory in Asia. It is lights out, and away we go for episode 137 of the Eating Asphalt podcast. Well, buddy, it's always hard when you come off a race where something extremely unexpected happens and you get to be brought down to earth a little bit. So I would say I would categorize that as what we saw this past weekend. It wasn't the worst we've ever seen, but it was a little bit of like, all right, you got our engines revved up. What are we going to see now? And it's just like, oh, we're going to see probably what we're going to see for the rest of the season. So that
Yeah,
was
like
a bit of a bummer, but I had fun. What did you think?
yeah, it was like back to the status quo a little bit.
Yeah.
But I saw some things that were like, oh, we expected Red Bull to do way better and have a better than a 12 and a half second, 13 second, winning margin. So, I guess we're going down the right direction.
I guess.
I guess beating expectations. We only lost by, I guess, to his teammate by 12 and a half and to the rest of them 18 or 20. So yeah, that's great. That was fun.
Yeah, the tough part about his winning margins are that you just don't know how much he's actually coasting. Like if he were actually trying to send it and push it to the limit, I'm sure he would get an extra like 5 or 6 seconds at least on top of Sergio. But yeah, it is what it is. This is the sport that we chose to like and make a podcast about. So here we are. On today's episode, we have it should be a pretty quick one. Going to do our hot lap recap. Done by Marco. We're going to talk winners and losers. Marco has some losers. I have some losers. We're both losers, and we're also going to talk about winners. And then we'll get into our predictions and gambling, which went pretty well for one of us. And yeah, I think that's it. Let's get into our hot lap recap by Marco.
For a fourth time this year and as many races, we have a team finishing on the top of the grid in first and second place. Unfortunately, 3 of those 4 wins are from Red Bull. This race was an interesting one in the fact that there were a lot of passing, but it was due to the fact that almost everyone that was passing was on a bit of a different strategy. So we would see easy take after easy overtake because one driver just had much fresher tires and they said, hey, this is going to be coming down towards the end of the race where these strategies are going to kind of come back together. So it really made it hard to see where things are going to shake out until the end, where it was just another unsurprising finish of Red Bull and Ferrari leading, followed by McLaren. Last thing here, Williams' chances of getting any sorts of points left the second Alex Albon crashed, while RB's chances didn't change at all when Danny was finished as well.
Yeah, yeah. Congrats to Yuki Tsunoda, though. He is actually, I mean, we'll save it for our winners and losers. That's a great segue, actually. Let's get in to our Eatin'Asphalt winners and losers.
My winners are going to be Red Bull being back in the winner's circle. Max gets back to a double-digit lead for drivers, and Red Bull is up 21 points on Ferrari and constructors. So, they got it a little close, and I think they were just like, all right, games are over. Single digits, not for us. And then just kind of put the pedal back on. So that was, the typical. I'm expecting our Red Bull to be in the winner's circle 99% of the time. This is one of the 99% of the times. Moving on to the non so typical winners, we have Yuki Tsunoda. Like Ian said, P10 here and then P7 last week. Guy is making Ian some serious money over the past couple of weeks. So huge shout out to Yuki from Ian, not from me. And then my last winner is going to be Ferrari. So in years past, we typically see Ferrari starting the race in like the kind of first or second row and then dropping a few places due to some strategy blunders, some confusion at the pits. So far this year, not too bad. Carlos moved up a spot from 4 to 3 and Claire went from 7 to 4 with a great 2-stop strategy. So those are my winners and losers.
Yeah, nice. The Yuki Tsunoda piece. Again, I'll just reemphasize that was one of my winners for sure this weekend. Back-to-back points finishes in that car. Second time being at his home race. I think is it too early to say Yuki to Red Bull?
Yes, because I think they like Perez. I think he's gonna stay.
All right. Well, you heard it here first. Eaton Asphalt wants Yuki to Red Bull. Also Fernando or Carlos or Lewis.
So
Or
anyone but Sergio.
my other winner is Sergio Perez.
Oh,
3 out of 4 races that he's eased his way into P2. The only other race he had a penalty. I feel like he takes a lot of heat, and so when he does perform well, I think we owe him. I say we, I owe him some credit. And yeah, you heard it here first. Eaton Asphalt wants Sergio Perez to stay in that Red Bull seat after such a good performance 4 races in.
all right. Yeah, we lay as many people as we want, and then one of them gets picked. We called it.
Clip it, post it on social media, look like genius.
Delete the rest of the podcast, so that no one can pull that card on us ever. Also, I think I saw it was Sergio Perez's first time on the front row, starting on the front row since May of last year.
Oh my God, really?
Is that nuts? Guy was really bad in quals last year.
That can't be right. That
Yeah,
can't be right.
don't look it up because
Don't,
it might not be.
no.
But I saw that and I said, yeah, I'm going to say that. You bet your ass I'm going to say that.
Man, that's
Yeah,
crazy. Holy,
that is crazy.
a whole
Yeah.
year of
I
being
mean, remember the amount of times that he was getting booted in like Q3 and Q2 or Q1
yeah,
and Q2? I
that's
mean,
true.
often.
Start
Yeah,
like
it was,
he's starting P12 again. Good for him. Yeah, nice.
yeah, it's like, oh, wow, he made it out of Q1. That's huge.
Yeah. All right, well let's go from good to bad and hear your losers from the Japanese Grand Prix.
My losers are going to be I have three. McLaren, not a great strategy this weekend. They pit Norris early for a second time at the exact same time that Ferrari pit Charles. So like it was just weird. I think that their strategy was a little off. I think their performance was just not up to the par that they want to if they want to compete with Ferrari or Red Bull. So just overall, just kind of like they'll take P5 and P7. Is that right? P8?
Sure.
Like it was like, hey, we'll take what we can get. We're probably third best team out there, but I think for them to wanting to get to that, they can't really have that. It's tough to see, yeah, someone pitting in lap 28 the same time as that, another car did for the first time. My other loser is going to be Ferrari. Carlos has been clearly the better driver for Ferrari. Lewis has been not really too good for Mercedes. So Carlos, another podium, 4 points behind Leclerc after missing one race. Beat him head to head on all the other races. Lewis, P9. He is 1 point ahead of Lance Stroll with 10 points this season. He is in P9 compared to P7 with George and has 24 points, so 2.4 times as many points. And during this race, just openly being like, hey, George, pass me, please. And like lap 14, being like, you're faster, get in there. So like, it's weird to see that. Weird to see Lewis kind of like being like, hey, go for it. You usually be like seeing him fight till the end, be like, nah, I got this. I know it's really early in the season, but I'm going to keep saying this Ferrari is a winner and a loser until I feel better about this decision going into 2025.
I think there was some rumor about Lewis having like I think Lewis had some problems with his drivetrain, so that he was like, I don't want to hold up George, just being a good guy. But yeah, right now it looks like someone put their money on the wrong horse, and that is the prancing horse themselves. So, uh-oh.
Just a small $1 billion into this guy. All right, my last loser is going to be Danny Ricciardo. Shocker there. As of getting taken out in lap 1 wasn't bad enough, the Grim Reapers seem to have creeped in, and it's now Liam Lawson's time to take a seat midway through the year again. This is a report that I saw today that finally we've seen like, hey, we're going to give you a couple races. Now, apparently no more races. If that's wrong, I never said that. And that does it for my losers.
Yeah, I thought it would be a little obvious to have Danny Ricciardo as losers, but absolutely, I feel like that he's probably top of the list this past weekend. Guy just can't catch a break, and he's not doing himself any favors. McLaren, I want to comment on. If we're McLaren is 51 points behind Ferrari. Last week they were 33 points behind Ferrari.
Mm.
Like, doesn't 51 just seem so much bigger than 33? Like for
Yeah, like you could have, just you need two drivers to really struggle for one team and two drivers to knock it out of the park for the other. 33, is like, hey, one guy does okay and we kill it. Like we can really make a jump there. This is like that's a full race swing that they just created that buffer on.
Yeah, it's like in football, like 17 to 24 for me seems way bigger than like 13 to 20 for some reason. I don't know. Maybe it's just
Yeah,
a stupid thing to
I'm going
say.
to circle back on that. That example that you just gave, same,
I know.
same numbers, right?
Saying, I'm saying
But the
it
other
feels
one is
different.
like, oh, like 50% larger.
All right.
That's where you lost me. I got where you're getting, kind of, but maybe come up with like an analogy that like is linear.
That's
But then I
fair.
got you. Yeah.
That's fair. That's fair. All right. Other losers I have, Williams chassis cannot catch a break. Absolutely just I've lost count. I think they've destroyed four at this point. Tough to see that.
Would you
Al
rather have a Williams chassis or a Stake F1's picker?
that is my other loser actually.
Hey, what do you think of that?
No like big pit crew mess ups, but having to retire the car, it just feels like you can count on once per race there being some kind of issue where the stake F1 drivers are getting screwed, and they've got to be. Do you think at what point do they throw in the towel? How many races in a row are they just like, I want to stop being an F1 driver? Is it 12, 15?
I think maybe for Guan. Oh, you're saying for the stake team?
Yeah, I was.
I think maybe Guan Yu Zhou, maybe, next week he gets his home race in, and if he really struggles, he's like, I mean, that's it. There's no going up from here.
Do you remember when Charles was in Monaco and he was like getting on the formation lap? He was like, "Oh no, guys, like I'm not going to be able to start this race." If that happens to Joe, I think he might just throw in the towel. Be like, let one of
Yeah.
the other young guns just come in and have a horrible time like I am.
Yeah, I've had a good run, but if I want to keep doing this, I need a okay team that's run okay to take me in.
Right. China should just buy a team. The Chinese government should buy a team. I said it.
I'd
Dude,
support it. I would
F1
support it. Give me enough money.
F1 should turn into countries. Like how soccer has like
Dude,
teams.
F1 has to get into the Olympics for sure.
Dude,
Starting like maybe in 10 years when maybe the American area improves a little bit.
let's bump that up to 40. Give us 10 more Olympics and then
Give us some time. Hey, dude, we have, Ford's kind of in the mix, we're gonna get some more people in here, right?
hell yeah.
Haas is kind of new.
That's kind of new, yeah.
Kind of new. Dude, we're young bucks.
All right, well, those are all my additional winners and losers. Let's move on to our predictions and gambling recap.
Before we get to our gambling corner and our race predictions recap, this part of the podcast is brought to you by the same group that brought you the movie Click, starring America's sweetheart Adam Sandler. Back then, this was just a fever dream and a movie. But today, with the help of China's very, very brightest, we have made this dream into reality. Yes, the famous remote can actually bring you back in time to a decision that you gravely made. For instance, if you were in a happy relationship with a nice Spanish lady and this smoke show from another school was interested in you, of course, at that time, you're going to drop everything you have to be with her. Then, I don't know, after a few weeks, your Spanish ex starts to lose some weight, around maybe 6.5 grams, weirdly enough, the same size as an appendix. Then she gets a BBL, a facelift, and the next thing you know, she's the hottest girl in the city. Every guy from every school is impressed with her. And you look over at your new girlfriend and start to notice, I don't know, she's a lot older than you remember. I don't know, did she get held back a few years? Weird. And wow, she's really not moving so well. Maybe she had a bad hip or something. It's kind of confusing. And then you look over right next to her, her best friend Georgina is even starting to look hotter than her. And she's a giant. And at that point, you know what you have to do. You hit that remote and you make everything right. No more sleepless nights of buyer's remorse. No more thinking the grass is greener on the other side. Do the right thing. And if you're sitting there thinking, hey, this whole remote thing is a bunch of malarkey, is it really less plausible than Lance Stroll sticking around the garage year after year while his teammates keep outperforming him? I don't think so. Click remote. Take us back.
So it was brought to you by Click Remote.
The remote that clicks backwards.
All right. Well, let's talk about well, thank you to Click Remote. We appreciate the sponsorship. Look forward to continued sponsorship with
Utilizing that
yeah,
soon.
utilizing it for gambling and predictions, which let's cover right now. So going into the weekend, I was 5-4 on my record, up 3.2 units. I hit two bets and lost one to make it 7-5 for my record. Sergio top two finish and Yuki Tsunoda winner outside of Red Bull, McLaren, Mercedes, Ferrari, and Aston Martin. Leclerc did not make podium, which would have given me a perfect weekend. But after that, I am up almost 2 units to put me at 5.1 units. So up 1.9 units. There we are. Again, we started with 500, so the total count is $602. Marco, your gambling recap.
1 for 4. The only one I got was between 0 and zero point 0.1 winning margin in quals. And then Perez not top three miss. Charles not top three miss. Leclerc fastest lap miss. So 1 for 4 went down from 3.1 units and 6-4 record to 7-7 with a 2.25 unit positive. So I'm at $540.
Dara. 540 Dara. All right. And then as far as predictions, not my best week. 0 predictions right. Marco.
One. We're tied 2-2.
This
Hey,
is
we
what
took off like half the predictions. All the easy ones we took off. These are where like the grimy plays are done.
this is in the trenches. You and
Yeah,
me getting this battle.
yeah, dude. I want the end season after 24 races, 9-10.
That's
Just
good
fighting
defense.
our asses off, dude. This
Good
is Big Ten
defensively.
football, brother.
Yeah. All right, everybody. More races to come, probably like that one. So we shouldn't say not a great race. China, you can never predict what China's gonna bring. Marco loves saying that. Cut. Let's go back on that.
Oh,
You just like, when you're just talking, you got no idea where it's going.
yeah,
Cut.
no, I didn't know where it was going either. Yeah.
I didn't know. All right, go back, Gavin, to when we finish gambling predictions, and I'll wrap up the show. Um, all right, everybody, that'll do it for us post the Japanese Grand Prix. We move just a hop, skip, and a jump over to China. Not this week, but the next week. So enjoy the week off. Keep your eye out for some Sunday gears on Instagram and TikTok. Vroom, vroom. And yeah, that'll do it. We appreciate everybody listening. See you, assholes.
See ya, assholes.
Hey, thought you could leave without saying goodbye.
I used to say I lived my life a quarter mile at a time. And I think that's why we were brothers. Because you did too.